Hi creative friends, my name is Ashley the Thrifty Chica. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be crafting something that is so fun and super vibrant for summer. We're going to be making infusible ink coasters, and if you haven't worked with infusible ink, this is the perfect project to get started. It's such a great way to showcase beautiful colors, and it's a permanent, long-lasting project that you can make. Would be great for selling, for gifts, or just to touch up some decor in your home. So let's go ahead and get started. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, and if you like this project, give it a thumbs up. Here are the supplies you'll need for this project. We're going to be using Cricut Infusible Ink ceramic coaster blanks, and it's a set of 4. You can also use other blanks such as sublimation blanks as long as they're compatible with being used with sublimation materials or infusible ink. I'm also going to be using an alcohol swab and different colors of infusible ink to create these fruit slice coasters. We're going to be using the bright green, black, ultraviolet, the rose color from the Rainbow Cheetah, and True Yellow. I'll leave links and all the information for this down in the description box. You can also check out my coupon code, and that way you can save yourself a little extra money. So the infusible ink sheets also come with parchment paper. Make sure to save this. You're going to use it later on in the project. And we're going to be using the one for the Cricut Joy. This is the same pretty much as the mug press sizing. So I'm just going to place this on the top here and press this down. Whenever you're working with infusible ink, make sure you're using clean and dry hands. That way it doesn't interfere with the ink on here. We'll be using the standard fine point blade. You can also use your Cricut Joy, your Cricut Maker, or your Explore Series machines. Any of them will cut infusible ink. Make sure to select mirror on so that your design is reversed. While we're here hanging out and crafting, I would love to know what's on your list to craft this summer. Leave a comment below, let me know, and if there's anything that you would like to see, then I can go ahead and create a tutorial for that too. I am so excited to do some quilting this summer, and if you wait until about July, I'm going to be bringing some Christmas in July crafts so we can get head start on the holidays. We're going to unload this sheet, and to remove it, just flip your mat over and hold on to your project and just peel your mat away. We're going to load the next sheet in, which is the Rainbow Cheetah pattern sheet. We're actually going to use the rose color from this, really nice vibrant color. Unload this. Make sure to flip your mat over to remove the project from it. This ensures that it doesn't fold or tear. And then we're going to load in the bright yellow infusible ink and start cutting it. We're going to unload this. We're following the same steps again of unloading the mat by flipping it over, and then we're going to load on the green infusible ink and press it on the mat gently and then go ahead and cut it. Once you've removed the green infusible ink from your mat, go ahead and take a piece of the ultraviolet and we're going to add it to our mat and get that cut. Okay, so we have all of these pieces and I'm just trimming them down so that they're the size range that we're actually going to use. And we can save all the scraps and use them for other projects. So something that's super helpful whenever you're working with Infusible ink, especially if you're working with something that has multiple colors, is to go back to the original project and check out exactly how it's laid out. So that way you can mimic the same look as it has there. So we're going to build the watermelon one first, and what we're going to do is rotate the Infusible ink sheet in our hand and just kind of roll it around. This helps to release it from the backing. So this is going to be our first coaster that we're working on. So we want to remove this middle section. If you have a section where it's stuck, you can always go back over it and roll it again, or you can use your tool and just kind of sweep underneath it and it helps to release it. If you want to get the most from your money, you can save pieces like this and cut them with your machine into other pieces to use. So I like to save those in case there's something I'm going to be making. And for this one, the green ring goes around the outside of the coaster. So we're just going to go ahead and remove all of the infusible around it. The next section that we're going to use is this section here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this. So this one is separate from the other pieces. Just roll this around in our hands. And these pieces in the center come out because they are going to make way for the little seeds that we're going to place inside. So I'm just going to peel this back. I like to always make sure I remove the Infusible ink from my work surface so it doesn't accidentally get caught back up in the design that we're working on. So we also have this piece here. These are going to be the seeds. I'm going to place the seeds on after I've moved this over. So in cases like this, usually if you were doing something like iron-on, you would be applying this in layers and you could cut out the section and apply that in. In this case, when you're doing Infusible ink, you have to pretty much apply it all at the same time, especially if it's in a localized zone. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to peel this off of the backing. Just hold on to it and be careful so I don't tear it. We're going to place this inked side up, and we can rotate this around until it's in the right space where it looks the best. And then we're going to place the seeds inside here. So we're just going to kind of rotate these around and release them so that we can move them straight over. You can always use your tool to move it around if necessary. And then when you're placing these in, just make sure to press them down so that way they stick to the backing here. Okay, so this coaster design is ready. Now we can work on the others. I'm going to work on the purple one next. This is kind of a similar style. Next, we're going to work on this one. To make this part easier, I'm just holding my weeding tool and I'm using it to kind of work almost like a pair of tweezers. The nice thing is I don't have to worry about the amount of pressure because I can tell how hard I'm working with it since I'm using my finger instead of a pair of tweezers. We're going to take this one off of the backing. We have to be careful with it, of course, because this is kind of a paper-like texture. And we're going to place this in the center of our ring here with the ink side up. Press this down so it stays firmly attached. We're now going to add the yellow seeds in the middle here. We're just releasing these from the backing to make sure that they're easy to pull up, and once we've worked on it for a little bit, we can just put our tool right underneath there and help lift it up so we can take this out. And then place these inside of the little gaps. Remember to press those down. And in case you were wondering about the size of each of these, their size is the same, so it doesn't matter which section they get placed into. Okay, so the second coaster design is done, and we can start working on the next couple. So these are basically reversed. This one's going to be a yellow ring, pink fruit, and then this one is going to be pink ring, yellow fruit. So in this case, it's going to be difficult to space these evenly enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this in the same space, and I'm going to remove the other pieces away from it, and then we're going to tape these sections together. So that way this will go right over it. So. Start peeling this from the corner. I'm going to hold this down and start pulling the other pieces towards the center. If you get pieces like this center portion where you can see some of the paper backing is left behind, don't worry, that shouldn't interfere with your project. As long as it's not in the way of where your infusible ink needs to be, then it's fine and it won't have any impact on that project. So this has to go basically inside of here. What I can do is cut this down so that it fits directly in here, and that way I don't have to transfer each individual piece over. In this case, this is going to be a huge time saver and also keep the proportions correct for the project. So this can just fit right into here. Press this down. And now we're on to the last one, which is the pink circle with the yellow insides here. We're going to approach this basically the same way as the other one. We're going to have this circle, and then we're going to cut this section and place it directly in the center. I'm just removing the little seed portions. This will show through white from the background. And now I'm just going to cut down the background on this so it can fit directly inside the little ring for the fruit. And I can place this right in the center. And then just press it to make sure it's on. Okay, now we're ready to work with our coasters, and so we're going to take them out of the box and get them prepped. So there are two sides to each coaster, and you can tell which side is which based on the texture. This one is slightly sandy texture versus the top, which is a nice shiny glossy surface. We're going to be applying our projects to the shiny glossy part of the surface. So we're going to take our alcohol wipes and prepare them so that way they're ready to receive the ink, and we want to make sure that we prep them and then let them dry. While those are drying, I'm going to cut down the excess away from the outside of the rings here, just because I'm going to be using the heat resistant tape to tape these down, and I want to make sure that it's a nice tight fit for the coasters. So having this stick out a little too far would make it so it's a little harder to fit exactly on our coasters. It doesn't have to be exact, but we just want to make sure there's not a whole bunch of tape hanging out around the outside. Now we have our fruit designs ready, and I'm going to take some heat resistant tape. This is what we're going to be using to make sure that it stays in place. The biggest thing when you're working with infusible ink is you really want to make sure that you don't have your design shift or move, because that can cause what's called ghosting. And ghosting is where a section is lighter, or you have a kind of a shift, or it kind of shifts off out of place. So those are a couple problems that you might run into when you're using infusible ink. So the biggest way to combat that is just to make sure that you're getting proper heat to the whole project, and also that it's not moving at all. So let's go ahead, we're going to tape these down individually. So I'm going to take some tape and place it. First, I'm checking out my design, making sure nothing's in the way. I'm going to place this directly on top of my coaster and line it up. And then we're going to grab our heat resistant tape and tape this section down. We want to make sure that we apply tape to all four corners essentially of the design, and that way it doesn't shift and it doesn't move out of place. So I like to just start with one section and then tape down the other section. So I'm making sure this is all lined up so that it's completely inside. I like where that's located, so now I'm going to place this on the opposite side. And as you can see, I'm kind of wrapping it around the edges here, and then what I'm going to do is flip this over and wrap it around on the back as well. That one kind of wrinkled, so I'm going to unwrinkle the tape. So we're going to repeat this on the opposite sides, because as you can see, there's a little gap here. This is something to keep an eye out for, is there will be like a little gap if you don't tape it down completely. We want to make sure that there's no gaping on the project and that it just really stays in place well. And if you guys ask me what my current favorite thing from Cricut is, besides the mug press and infusible ink, which I've been using a lot lately, I would say this heat resistant tape. I've been using it so much with my iron-on projects, with my fusible ink projects, and I really do think it's worth the money. It just makes a huge difference in the quality of the design. So if you want, you can always tape it again in the other sections as well. You could tape it around everything, but usually in 4 places is pretty consistent and it keeps everything where it needs to be. We're going to repeat this process with the rest of the coasters. So we're just going to place this on top Make sure that it is completely centered so we can see all of the different pieces, and then we're going to tape it in each section. I like to just run my tape along the side on the first few pieces, and that way I'm not shifting the design at all while I'm placing it down. Okay, now we're ready to get started. First thing is we need to heat up our heat press, and we're going to adjust the temperature to 400 degrees. The timing is going to take quite a while on this, so I'm going to adjust the timing to 240 seconds. While this is heating up, we can prep our work surface, so we're going to remove the coasters here. You want to work on a heat-safe surface, of course. I'm using the Easy Press mat. I'm also going to be placing some butcher paper or parchment paper beneath our project here. And I'm actually going to use probably 4 sheets just for extra safety. We're going to place this down. Our coasters will be it's kind of confusing with how Infusible ink works on a ceramic item versus a regular item. So on a regular item, you would have it face up, facing you with the press on top. For the ceramic coasters to have the best application, our process is to place them face down. So you're going to have where your sheet is and the front side of the coaster facing down. And so we're just going to turn it so all the designs are facing down. We want to make sure to have them spaced so that way we can easily place the press over them. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra space in between all of them. The idea is we don't want this to shift while we're placing this on here. So when we put this on, we're just going to place it on top and not touch it. Let it have its own weight. We're not placing any extra pressure on our project. Let's get another sheet of butcher paper or parchment paper. Okay, so our press is heated up. I'm going to make sure that we have everything ready. So we have our mat, we have our layers of parchment here. Our coasters are face down. We're going to place a sheet of parchment paper over it. And now we're ready to set this over. We're just going to place this right on top, centering it over our coasters. We're going to go ahead and press start. And then we're just going to let the weight of the machine hold this down. And we're going to not touch it, let it do its thing, and then we'll come back. Okay, these have cooled down, so we can go ahead and remove the tape and the design here. Okay, now it's time to take a look. I'm really excited. Yay! So cute. Oh wow, I love how vibrant that is. Oh my gosh, so adorable. Wow, look at that. Super cute. So what did you guys think about this project? I think it's such a fun one to play around with, and once you've mastered Infusible ink, there are so many different projects you can create. And if you're interested in making more Infusible ink projects, I have a ton on my channel, including t-shirts, hats, mugs, so many things you can make with it, and they always give you beautiful, long-lasting results. If there's a project you guys would like to see on the channel, feel free to leave a comment below. I always look at your comments and try to adjust what I'm creating for you. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys later.